Access to Democracy is made possible by donations from the following organizations. Thomson Reuters, a global company with expertise and insight to unravel complex situations in the areas of law, tax, compliance, government, and media. Their worldwide network of journalists and editors keep customers up to speed on relevant global events. Thomson Reuters, The Answer Company. Crutchfield Dermatology, a full-service treatment center and Medi-Spa in Eagan. Their goal is to help you look good and feel great with beautiful skin. The Minnesota Twins are looking forward to another great season in 2023, led by the return of All-Stars Carlos Correa and Brian Buxton. With the return of numerous players who were injured in 2022 and some new acquisitions, another division crown and a return to the World Series are in their sights. Established in 2007, 45th Parallel Spirits was among the first 50 micro-distilleries in the United States. Based in New Richmond, Wisconsin, all aspects of production occur at our facility. If you're interested in visiting and learning more about the 45th Parallel Distillery, please check our website and plan a visit to tour our facility and taste our spirits. Truestone Financial, with locations in Minnesota and Wisconsin, has proudly served its members since 1939. Truestone engages, educates, and supports its members to ensure they have the tools to empower their financial well-being. Truestone Financial, your neighborhood credit union. Learn more at truestone.org.
Hello and welcome to Access to Democracy. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Bill Raker, for this edition of the program. And I'm hosting today our guest, Mike Floersch, who is a math teacher with School District 196. Mike, welcome to Access to Democracy.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate being on.
Yeah, well, it's great.
Honor.
We're going to talk about some things that really impact the education system, work that you've been doing and the significance that it has. And we'll talk about ways that our viewers might be able to support some of the programs that you have going for you. You wear a lot of hats. I mean, I see here that you're a secondary math teacher at Valley Middle School,
Yep.
right? And you're a soccer coach at Rosemont High.
Yep.
And you do adjunct teaching. You're an adjunct professor at St. Mary's University.
Correct. Yep.
And you've got a couple of organizations that you've started and some special work that you do, which we're going to talk about. But let's find out a little bit about you. What got you into the teaching profession?
That's always a good question. You know, it's kind of ironic. I remember trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I was at Boy Scouts one day, and my scoutmaster turned to me and said, whatever you choose something that you want to go to every morning, because every morning you have to wake up and go to work. And I'm like, oh, that's a good point. He said, money, don't worry about the money part. You want to be happy. Mm-hmm. And I remember specifically walking home that night from Scouts and going, you know what? I want to be a math teacher. I want to be a math teacher, and then I can coach, and I can camp in the summer, and I haven't looked back since.
Well, that's interesting. I'm going to share something with you, Mike. I started out as a math teacher as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Well.
And I'll come back to that a little bit later when we talk about another topic that we have here on the agenda. But yes, that was the first job that I had. I taught secondary math in the high school at Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Okay.
On the post there to the children of the dependent children of the military people who served there. And I also taught a couple of years at college, and then I decided I wanted to do something else. So I'm with you, okay?
Yes, you are.
I get it. I get it. So, Mike, one of the things that we want you to tell us about is that you are teacher on special assignment, or TOSA.
Yep.
So what is that? How did that develop? And what do you do as a TOSA?
It's a very good question. What does TOSA even stand for? Teacher on Special Assignment. So basically, I'm a teacher, and then a little spin-off of that is an extra little role. So I taught at Rosemont High School for 28 years, and then this position opened up, and I support all of our middle school and high school teachers in whatever capacity that could be. You know, I can come in, work through creative lesson plans with them, work through, some classroom management or come up with some ideas and brainstorm on lesson plans. I help with professional development kinds of things. Really, whatever our math teachers need, that's my goal, is to support them however I can. So I was hired for that, and in that role, it's considered, as a teacher, we're 1.0. It's considered a full-time teacher. Point 2 of my job is to continue to be in the classroom. So I went from teaching 5 classes to teaching 1 class at Rosemont High School. And then the other 0.8, I go out and I support with the teachers, however that looks. Sometimes I'm at meetings with the district office, district meetings with principals, trying to figure different things out. Really trying to get our math curriculum on task with all the new standards coming our way and new curriculum coming our way and new teachers coming in. So that's kind of been my role, is it's changed to that. And then this last year, I said, you know what, I think I need to teach at a middle school. I haven't ever taught there. My wife thought I might be a little crazy. She's a middle school math teacher as well. And I said, you know what, I'm all right. Let's take on the challenge. And I've learned so much, and I think it's made me a better math instructional coach for the district by taking that step and diving into it and going, what do I need to learn? What are our teachers at the middle school going through? I understand the high school system, the middle school system I did. So
are you still in this role of special assignment?
Yes.
And how long have you had that role?
So this will be my second year, finishing my second year in this role.
You've talked a little bit about what it entails. Is there a more specific example of something that you can cite and say, here's a specific thing that I've done in this role?
I can. So a specific example would be, I had a teacher the other day that had emailed me and said, you know what, it's interesting. I gave my last test and I was looking at the scores, and I have kids on the high end of the scores and I have kids on the low end of the score, and not much in between. Would you be willing to stop by and brainstorm with me on what we can do to maybe fill that gap, figure out how we do that? So then I said, absolutely. So I came, we met and we kind of walked through some options. Between the two of us, we put our brains together, because I certainly don't have all the answers, but it doesn't mean we can't put our brains together to come up with some ideas. And I just love that she was willing to not be okay with that and go, there's something going on. What can I do to help our students? So
do you see like a meshing of your teaching experience as a math teacher and your coaching experience as a soccer coach coming together in this role?
That's actually the way, it was kind of when I was hired, there was some, for job description, there was a little bit of TBD, to be determined. Mm-hmm. And so I was, I said, whoever takes on this role needs to get into the schools and meet the teachers and build that relationship kind of thing. So I ended up coming into the role saying, let's figure out what my role is. And so over the last year and a half, I've really kind of started to tweak things and figure things out, and what my role might be. And it's been rewarding, challenge, but rewarding at the same time.
So your role is with math teachers.
Correct.
As this on special assignment or as a coach. Are there other subject matter coaches in 196 that are doing similar things that you do, but like in English or history or something?
Yep. Yes. So there's English, there's history or social studies, there's science, there's special ed, there's elementary math coaches. We have 9 elementary math coaches this year that help our 19 elementary schools and help the math, the teachers kind of integrate some of the math curriculum there. They went through the process of picking new curriculum, so they were kind of leading that. So yeah, there's a lot of, there's one secondary math, and that's me, but there's one science and there's one special ed. So yeah, it's a lot of districts have gone to this to try because you get so big, how can we make a district a little bit smaller? And so you have these coaches or teachers on special assignment that can kind of organize and listen to that group of teachers and then bring any concerns or questions or new things or new ideas back to people that might listen at the district office.
Well, let's talk, Mike, about the size of that group that you provide this coaching support to. How many educators do you interface with or work with in this role?
I would say we probably have about 130 to 140 math teachers in middle and high schools, because we have 6 middle schools, 5 high schools, and an alternative learning.
But this is all within 196.
All within District 196.
So other districts would perhaps have similar programs.
Correct. Yep.
What are some of the key programs that you bring to this group of educators that you coach? I mean, you maybe learn or pick up some things in a different venue, in a different setting, and you bring it back and share with them. Got a couple of examples of something you've done like that?
It's kind of listening to our teachers. By getting out into the schools and meeting with our teachers and just getting into the classrooms. I know a lot because I've been in the classroom for 30 years. But it's interesting to see different parameters, different setups around the district. But I would say, as we move towards new curriculum, and because we're going to have new curriculum and we got new math standards coming down the pipeline. So part of my role is to get our teachers educated in that and to find time to run some professional development around that. But then there's all the other things where, between my experience and listening to teachers, for example, I've heard a lot of people say, hey, I wish we had some type of diagnostic test. When we get a brand new student that joins our class in the middle of the school year, we don't know where they are mathematically. And they said it'd be really nice to have a diagnostic test. And we've been talking about that for years. And so this year I went through and wrote different diagnostic tests for each one of the grade levels. And it gives our teachers something to hand to a new student and say, I want you to take this. Let's see where you are, as opposed to just taking a guess. So.
Well, you've been a teacher and a coach for many years. So let's see if we can do some comparisons. If you think back to the early days of your teaching career and what it was like to teach math then and even just to be a teacher then, and compare that with how math at the secondary level is taught today and what it's like to be a teacher today. Can you, what the teachers use, compare and contrast these two things, right?
Right. Now I feel like I'm back in English class, right? Kids are kids, and that's why we got into the profession. We have fantastic teachers across this district, not just math, but I mean, our district is well known for our teachers and our support staff and everybody else. But from the beginning to the end, I think what's happening is a lot of times people will say, you know what, technology has made it easier for teachers. And I would actually say I'm not sure that's the case. It's made it easier for parents to check, and it's made it easier for communication, and it's easier for the kids to kind of keep track of things. But that is added to our plate. And so what's I think is happening for teachers, and why you hear a lot of teachers saying, and in the media talking about, oh, it's really changing, and teachers are burning out, and it's I think there's some we get added. Like now we got the technology. It's awesome.
It's all additive.
But we now have to find time to upload that stuff, write the digital version of it, write the PDF version of it, put the grades in. And so it's all very good, but it's added to the profession. The way kids learn now is much, much different. I think they, with video gaming or society or whatever, social media, a lot of it is, I want instant feedback. And so that's kind of put us on guard. Like, oh, they want this information right away. I don't want to lose their attention. So how can I get kids more engaged? And in getting kids engaged, I think is different from 30 years ago, for sure. You know, I mean, we didn't have phones, we didn't have iPads, we didn't have the internet, like, it was AOL, if you remember that. And so now it's fast, and we can use it to our advantage. You know, our artificial intelligence is coming out, and a lot of teachers are very scared about it. And I'm like, you know what? We can run with it. We can use it to help us. Our students, let's teach our students how to use it wisely. And so when they get stuck on a topic, AI can be there to help work through it. And that can take some of the pressure off of our teachers. And so there's a lot of different things that we're learning to work with. But it's just the changing and how we teach. You know, before it was just stand at the board, listen, you guys take notes. Well, they don't, I don't know how much students have the patience to just take notes. They want to be engaged, just like they're with video games and social media. Show me why. And it's a good question. And that's the way our new standards are coming down the pipeline, is it's going to be more conceptual learning. So I would say we've gone to a more conceptual learning, which is a challenge for teachers just to think outside the box. Okay, how can I make this real? How can I make this engaging? So there's an added layer there as to how we teach.
So there's, in all parts of our life, and in all aspects, there's just change coming faster, more frequently, of greater magnitude. You know, teachers are teaching more and students are learning more. Now, I just inferred that from what you said. Is that really true, that teachers are teaching more and students are learning more than they did 20, 30 years ago?
I don't know if I would say they're learning more. I would say we're having more options. You know, now we have computer programming for them. We have more advanced placement courses that they can take. Are they learning more as a full group? Not necessarily. I think they're learning differently. Okay. You know, we want to show them the how, the why behind some of the math, as opposed to just rules. Because now, you know, it's like, for example, 30 years ago, we would have memorized equations because that's all they had. You know, it's like, no, you have to know these. Well, nowadays, you or I go, you know what? I don't remember. How do I find the area of the garden in my backyard? You can take out your phone, Google it, and come up with the equation. So I think we're starting to get away from memorizing equations and understanding where those equations are coming from.
Or where to go to find the equation or to solve the equation, which is a different approach, a different way to get to the same conclusion, I suppose.
Very much so.
I think you mentioned at one time, Mike, that, and this is kind of an alarming statistic, that 40% or so of teachers who go into the teaching profession leave it after 3 years.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on from your perspective, why you think that is, and the impact on students and the education system for that happening?
Yeah, it's a concerning. I mean, it used to be 5 in, you know, or 50% in 5 years, and now we're down to 3 or 40% in 3 years. I mean, it's, and I think part of it is COVID didn't help because people started to work from home. And I can speak about this just with my own kids. You know, they were like, you know what, I'd like a job where I'm working from home part-time. That would be not necessary, but it'd be nice. And so the kids going through college, they've seen that now. Well, this is what my parents do. This is real. You can work part-time from home. And so what happens is you can't do that as a teacher, right? And then you go to college, and let's say you are interested in math, sciences, and special ed, kind of the STEM, are really going to take a hit. And prime example would be there are some programs in our colleges that are starting to close up, education programs, because they don't have enough students going into education. So they can't support it. They don't have the funds to keep going, yep, let's keep doing this. Let's crank out 3 teachers now. They can't afford it. So, and I think in the math world, think about, you go like in secondary math, you have a math degree. Well, a math degree now, you can You can go so many different directions: finance, marketing, teaching, accounting. There's just so many different routes. And I think it's interesting. They can all which might have a bonus, all which might have a little bit better pay, and is might be able to work from home. So and the stress. The stress is I think is interesting. When we came out of COVID, I didn't realize this. Me personally, I didn't realize how go a teaching career was until COVID happened, and we had to pause a little bit and go, okay, let's call kids in. Let's take some time, let's take Wednesdays off and meet with kids and sit down with our other teachers, plan things. And then we went back to a regular schedule, and everybody's like, wow, we go. I mean, we get like 25 minutes for lunch. We're snarfing down lunch, right? And then you're supposed to grade papers in there and update stuff. And so that's where people are like, I am constantly taking work home. And that, I think kids are seeing that.
So I think, Mike, you just described perhaps one of the motivations that caused you to start a program called Support Our Teachers.
Yes.
Tell us about what that program is, why you started it, how does it work, how can our viewers and others in the public support you in supporting our teachers?
I appreciate you asking. In this role, I've seen it. I've noticed it. It's an appreciation. If we're going to keep teachers out, we need to show some appreciation. And there's some things that we need to do for our teachers and for our students. And by being in this role and being the math support coach, I went the math route. And so what I did is I created a nonprofit called Support Our Teachers. It really should be Support Our Teachers and Students. And I've raised some funds, and then I'm taking those funds and finding ways to help our students. For example, I've bought calculators and given out calculators for each math department in each one of those 13 schools, in their secondary schools, say, give these to kids that can't afford them, or use them for your classroom. It's things that are above and beyond what the district normally would pay for. I asked some of the nurses, like, what do you need? What could you use? And they're like, just toothbrush, toothpaste is something we could use. I'm like, okay. So I went and got a bunch of toothbrush and toothpaste and had, I don't know what they got, 80 toothbrushes and toothpaste kits. And I had that delivered to each one of those schools. One of the schools goes, we really could use some clothes. So I went out and bought some clothes and socks and sweatshirts and stuff. And so they have a box of clothes for when kids come in and they go, I need clothes. I have granola bars. Teachers give out granola bars. I have kids come in and go, I didn't eat breakfast this morning. Do you have anything? I go, I got a granola bar for you. And teachers are doing that all the time. So I said, every department got a box of granola bars. I said, split this up, put it in your desk, share it with your students. And then I'm trying to find ways to just show our teachers some appreciation. When you go out and do a little bit extra professional development, you know what? Here's a $5 Target gift card. Thank you. It's not a big deal, but it's just saying thank you in such a small way. And I think that I'm hoping that will go a long ways and just to show our teachers appreciation, and then we get retention. Because not only are we losing teachers early, we got a lot of teachers starting to retire early too. So we're losing them from both ends, and at some point, we're not going to have enough to go around, especially in those science, math, and special ed. So,
well, congratulations and thank you to you for recognizing a need and doing something very active and very positive to address that need. And I know you benefit from support that comes from individuals and perhaps organizations as well. So if any of our viewers are interested in supporting you and Support Our Teachers, how could they do that?
Well, I'm a nonprofit, but I'm running it through, I have a fiscal sponsor called the Rosemount Irish Foundation. It's the Rosemount High School Foundation. So they've taken me on, and so we run things through them and I'm a separate entity, but through them. So they can reach out to them. Otherwise, they can go to my Support Our Teachers website. I think it'll probably be on screen.
We'll have that on the screen. Yeah.
They can email me. That might even be a bit easier. Floersch@msn.com. Just say, how can I help out? It might be food. It might be supplies. It could be funds. It could be monetary funds. actually not, 100% of the funds that come into the nonprofit go back out to our 29,000 students in the district and our math teachers. And eventually, if I can get this to grow big enough, I'd like to see that expand to teachers across the district.
Well, we hope that our viewers see the need as you saw the need, and that they're motivated to respond as well. And as you said, your email address and your website will be appearing on our screen so that our viewers will have a way to contact you and perhaps learn more about your program and ways that they may be able to help through funding or perhaps other kinds of ways to contribute to the program.
That could include volunteering. We have adults coming in that are retired, come in and work with our students.
There's another
there's so
angle
many
on
different
that.
ways.
Yeah. How many volunteers do you have working?
Right now we have 3 volunteers, 3 adult volunteers that come in and work with kids. One's a retired engineer. I think one's a retired college professor, and it's an untapped resource. And that's one of the other things that my nonprofit does is it's supporting tutoring programs throughout their district, trying to get some tutoring programs going. So it helps in so many ways. And however, even just saying thank you to a teacher,
that always goes a long way.
That always goes a long way. And I think something small like that, I don't know if people realize how much that means to us.
Mike, we could talk more about this for a long time, but we're coming up to the end of the program. We've got a minute and a half or so left. Is there any final message that you'd like to leave with our viewers, a final thought about teaching as a profession and how important that is for our society?
That's what's kind of scary. It's so important. You kind of go, what would happen if we ran out of teachers? Teachers got into this profession for a reason. You know that, right? And that's to make a difference. And that is something that, as teachers, is always near and dear to us. And that's where people don't leave. And that's why you got some people coming into the profession still, because they want to make a difference and in helping these kids grow up, maybe guiding them. And I think we have an important role, and we have unbelievable staff, and we have an unbelievable district in District 196, and the kids make it that way, and the teachers make it that way, and all of our support staff make it that way, and administration. It's just fun to watch, and then you kind of go, wow, we have a big role here.
Well, Mike, thank you for teaching, for coaching, for being the person behind the Support Our Teachers program.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being a guest here on our program today. Good luck to you, and we wish you the very best.
I really appreciate you taking the time and letting me come in.
Thank you for joining us on Access to Democracy.